GM, Fomoverse Radio. This is Austin Hamilton, your show host. We got Moose on here for the part two of the tax chat. He's FOMO number 920 from Conifer, Colorado. What's going on, Moose?
Oh, not much. GM to you as well. Yeah, Sunday, Super Bowl. Kind of excited about that, but yeah, kind of just having a good morning. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I went for a little jog this morning and, just trying to start the day off right. Who are you thinking that's going to win the Super Bowl?
Well, I don't know, man. From Colorado, so Broncos fan. They got Von Miller over at the Rams. I have to back my boy Vonnie. So I'm kind of in there,
Yeah.
But I mean, both. So what a fun. I don't know. For football fans, it's been a really cool playoffs. I mean, all these young quarterbacks kind of really showing like their huge potential coming out all at the same time. So Burrows, I know it's going to be a good game. So we'll see.
It's crazy, I don't follow football too hard, but I watch the Broncos, every once in a while, and it's amazing to see all these young quarterbacks, like you said, just coming out with so much talent. You know, uh,
Yeah,
you just I feel like you never get to see this much talent with all these young guys, so it's pretty neat.
yeah, no, I totally agree. It's cool, and it's just that for a while we weren't sure if we'd like ever see another. We had Brady, Manning. I'm kind of a big football nerd, so I get into it. But we had a couple of elite quarterbacks for like a decade, and now all of a sudden, all these young guns all at the same time. So yeah, it's really cool. And rooting for everybody. All these kids. I mean, the kids to me, they're like, I don't even know how old, 19 years old, 20, mid early 20s. It's
We're,
crazy.
we're old guys now.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna go for the Rams too, because of Von Miller. I gotta show some love too.
yeah,
Uh,
man, exactly. It's
they
good.
they got a pretty stout team.
Big time, big time. So I mean, that's why, yeah, they look great out there. But both teams look real good.
Okay, so
Anyway,
so correct me if I'm wrong, but is Odell Beckham Jr. is he on there too? Is he on the Rams?
oh man, I
Who
see.
does
I'm
he
not.
play for?
I'm a big fan. I don't know. We'd have to Google that. I really don't know. I
Here,
know he
I'll,
doesn't play for the Browns anymore because he was over there for a while. I don't know. I want to say he is on the Rams, but I don't know, man. Yeah,
yeah, he is on the Rams here. Well, it shows.
he is. There you go.
Yeah, he is an American football wide receiver for the Los Angeles Rams.
Well, there you go. Yeah, he's kind of
Wow.
always all over the place. So he's always a character, huh?
He's 29 years old, 5'11",
That's
receive.
old for football.
Yeah, what's like the average age? Like 25?
Yeah, it'd be interesting if you take quarterbacks out of that data set. I bet it's very, very low. And quarterbacks go a lot longer because they just get so
Okay.
protected, but everyone else getting so beat up.
So I pulled up a thing here. It says what is the average age of NFL? 26 years old.
Well, look at that. That's crazy. Yeah, got to be fast, young athletes. I can barely, if I go on a little walk, I need to rest my legs.
Oh,
So,
that was me this morning, buddy. Trust me. When I
yeah,
was going on the jog. Yeah, check it out. I don't know if you can see this moose. Is it
I
still?
can't. No, you're still
It's
black to
still
me, but
okay.
I can just hear you.
Well, what about you guys? Can you guys see us just fine? Hit us up in the comments to make sure everybody can see us here. I can
It'd be
see.
hilarious if everyone else was also
It's just
black and just
black
seeing my
screen.
pretty mug. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Chris Manalis, he puts yes, OBJ is on the Rams. There we go. All right. So, you had mentioned there is some new NFT or crypto laws.
Yeah, not necessarily laws, but there's been kind of two like big, well, I mean, like, kind of like it, but there's been just kind of two big tax news recently that kind of we're probably going to see a lot of this over the year because the IRS is trying to figure out what they're going to do. But the first one was like kind of crazy because at first what happened was in the news headlines it said the IRS is not going to tax staked yield coins, proof of stake coins that are staked in earning yield, so they won't tax the yield on it, the rewards, until they were actually like claimed, even if the owner could claim them anytime. So that's what all the headlines said. I thought that was crazy because I mean, if you think about it, what you can do there is just like immensely powerful in terms of tax money. You can just leave your stuff staked, not recognize any income while you're earning it. If the market goes down, claim it then and just earn a lot less income. Or and you got to keep your exposure to the asset because you're like earning that asset, right? So you're yielding an asset. You're exposed to it by the quantity you can claim, but you don't have to claim it to recognize any income. It's kind of like an IRA where it's tax deferred. So anyway, I was shocked when I saw the headlines. But it turns out after dug in past the headlines that it's just not quite the case. This couple that were getting audited sued the IRS, and I think it was on the Tezos network, but don't quote me on the network. I think it was Tezos, but they had stuff staked, and they were yielding Tezos, and then they won. So they were in this IRS battle, and the IRS had to issue them a refund of a few $1,000s. And the IRS was claiming that this money on the Tezos network was taxable income to them. Even though they didn't like physically claim it, they had the right to claim it. So that was kind of the two arguments. Well, the IRS's argument, that is. And then the couple got their money back. Well, long story short, it was like a procedural argument in the court that ended up winning on this. So it wasn't the substance of the underlying argument that they didn't have, that their argument was they shouldn't have income until they actually claim it. And this is an area we don't have any rulings. You have to kind of think it is a big deal, because what happens like in a volatile market, if you're earning it and it's income to you right when it's earned, that price could be very high, which means, you kind of have an incentive to claim it and sell it perhaps, because you need to make sure you cover your taxes and have liquidity because the price is high. But inversely so, if it's real low, you might not want to, but it's still income to you. So you might want to not, anyway, it's interesting because there's two big ways. There's only two ways it can be done. It's either income to you right when it's earned, every time it's earned, or it's income to you when you claim it. But the IRS hasn't really given us any guidance, and the media was overhyped. But the real cool thing is this couple is bound to determine they're going to continue to pressure the IRS and push this through the court system. So they're going to take it up the court system to still push for a ruling on this, even though they won, which they can do. So they're going to kind of keep fighting in the IRS to force them to pick a side on what is going to happen with staking rewards. So that's it's going to come to a head, and that's pretty cool that we'll get some clear guidance. Likely, maybe not, but pretty likely. And that was like one of the big news. And then the other one was yesterday, which was a huge win for cryptocurrency. The IRS, the Department of Treasury confirmed. Well, there's this huge debate. Okay, let me kind of rewind. In the CARES Act, there was this part, and you might have seen headlines back then of where they were trying to classify Bitcoin and miners under certain definitions of the law. And in doing so, it would classify like a Bitcoin miner as someone who is dealing in securities, like a brokerage firm. Well, if you deal in securities and you're a Bitcoin miner, you're required by law to issue things like a 1099-B, which is a tax form that shows, your proceeds and gains. So like all stock market, like, Fidelity, E-Trade, all these holding companies that facilitate, trades, they all issue, all of the people that work with them, or their clients, there's 1099-Bs. Well, if a Bitcoin miner was subjected to the same laws, technically every time they went to sell that, their rewards, their mining rewards, like they're dealing the security by giving out Bitcoin and receiving fiat, and they'd have to technically 1099 every single. I mean, it'd be literally impossible with any type of cryptocurrency knowledge. Like every time they sell it, they're supposed to 1099 every wallet that they sell any Bitcoin to that was part of their mining reward. So it functionally shuts down cryptocurrency mining in the U.S. I mean, it's technically a way to outlaw, because it'd just be impossible. So then you're forced, then you're forced all these penalties that could be subjugated on you for not doing it. And as a way to kind of ban Bitcoin mining in particular without actually banning Bitcoin mining, just through the hassle. Anyway, yesterday it was confirmed, and there's a letter, and it's not officially released, but it came straight from the Treasury itself that said that they are not going to classify miners. They had a list. There's like miners, stake providers, and someone else. Either way, none of them are brokers under the law. So that's a huge one for cryptocurrency in the U.S. Because it means they don't have all these reporting requirements. So that was like, and it's just common sense. It's impossible. So that was pretty cool to see. But those are the only like kind of new on the edge tax stuff we have. We're still waiting for. Hopefully we get it'd be great if we got a big regulation book, just so we have, because right now we don't know a lot. It's kind of we're shooting in the dark in some parts of the law. So we'll see if we get some other more substance. But kind of cool to see some things coming out and giving us clarity.
Oh, that's cool, man. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing with us some of the new regulations. I had recently heard, if you're a company and you hold Bitcoin on your balance sheet, that you're supposed to report it every quarter.
I haven't heard what this one is, but yeah, I don't know what you're
Something
referring to.
about that you're supposed to report it at the lowest price that it was at that quarter. And so, like, if you're a publicly traded company, it could be like a negative thing because you would technically show like a loss, and thus might make the stock go down.
Yeah, no, I think I can see what you're saying. I can see the motivations behind what you're saying. I haven't seen that myself, but I'm sure it has to do with, we have accounting requirements up, especially for big corporations, and how their accounting has to be done. And I could see exactly that, them forcing the balance sheet to be, what they're doing is they're giving guidance on the valuation aspect of it. So you can't like do an average over the quarter on Bitcoin. It will force what they're trying to do is protect, technically, quote unquote, protect investors and
Investors,
things.
yep.
Yep, from having poor valuations. So if they're taking the lowest every time, that's probably, I mean, it's clearly the conservative approach. So yeah, it's kind of a negative thing, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, honestly, I think that's not that bad. But yeah, it's what it is. That's interesting. I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah, so I'm trying to look it up just, so I can clarify. This is
Yeah.
a side note here. It says, how many companies have Bitcoin on their balance sheet? New technology is appending everything in finance from saving to trading to making payments. While at least 26 publicly traded companies hold Bitcoin, just one owns more than half of all cryptocurrencies on corporate balance sheet. I bet we know who that publicly traded company is.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I can't believe there's 26 of them though. That's kind of
26.
crazy. That's higher than I would have guessed them because I mean, publicly traded. Yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't have guessed it was that high. I would have
Here's
guessed maybe six.
here's a few companies that own the most Bitcoin. Uh,
Who's
of
number one?
of course, we all know MicroStrategy.
Yeah,
Then it goes Tesla,
yeah,
Galaxy Digital Holdings. I don't think I've heard of that one.
yeah. That's a. I'm pretty sure that's just another kind of like MicroStrategy. That's all. They're just a symmetrical bet with the market. I think, but don't quote me on that. I think that's how they run their operations.
Voyager Digital.
Now I have no idea. Yeah,
I
I bet I don't know anyone else going down. Is there any other big names that are like,
Square.
I don't Square? Okay, that makes sense. Obviously, Jack.
I wonder if Voyager Digital. That's gotta be that crypto platform, Voyager.
Yeah, I don't know much about it, if anything. But I mean, I've seen the name around. Are they a centralized exchange? Yeah, I don't even know anything about them.
Yeah, I think it's just like Coinbase. They have their
Mhm.
own token, VGX, where you can earn, I think it's like 10 to 12% APY. So we go back into, getting taxed on staking some of that VGX. So you wouldn't necessarily get taxed, throughout the year, whatever, holding it. It's just whenever you're withdrawing it or cashing it out. Is that correct?
No, no, kind of that. Yeah, I don't know. That's what we thought. That's what the media headlines were, right
Okay.
when there was that ruling with the couple. But we don't know. And if I was doing a tax return, without question, right now, I would be saying, we have to average that out at least daily. But no, it's income to you when received until the IRS says otherwise. I think that's why people were kind of celebrating it, because it was kind of honestly shocking. But no, I would not. I would. It's when you earn it, definitely. So the hard part is like some of that stuff's earned like constantly. You're not going to like pragmatically be able to do that. So I'd say like you have to accrue it daily, probably. You know,
Hmm.
real pain in the butt.
Another thing I wrote down on our last crypto tax chat was
Mhm.
airdrops.
Yeah.
Had a little question mark by that. So, what happens when you get airdropped? Would you would only get taxed on that as if you like sell it? Is that right?
Well, yeah. Technically speaking, it's the fair market value when it's received, and then these coins come out when you're receiving them, like ENS. And this is where it helps you. So that same law we were just talking about, it's both of them replied. Both of them are the exact same kind of thought process in the sense
Yeah.
of if you're yielding something. Let's go back real quick on that 8% yield. You're yielding something like this brokerage Voyager is doing or whatever your yield is, and that's income to you like consistently. Well, that's kind of a bummer because you have to you have to constantly like do this extra reporting requirement, to track out the income in U.S. fiat terms, and then make sure you set aside taxes. Well, here, like what you just said, is where we get the benefit. Like ENS comes out, that's an unproven coin that has absolutely no value. It's just a governance coin. So right when it hits your wallet, technically it's zero until we get some level of market participants, and then the market opens up, and the market's going to decide that price. Well, when we receive it, it's when it's that kind of coin. Now, there's two different types of airdrops. Excuse me, like these kinds that have absolutely no historical background. There's no valuations. Those ones can be, and we have to ground this stuff in logic and law, but those could be zero because there's nothing that even backs them. They're just a governance token with no proposals on the table. So when you get it, nothing. When you sell it, now we have the proceeds. We have no cost basis. So whatever you
Okay.
whatever you sell it for is 100% taxable. So that's kind of where it kind of helps us is like when we get these ENS drops, they can be so volatile too. Like, I mean, you have it at time of, and that's kind of been changing too. We've been trying to get it like grounded. Some of this stuff is still just right on the forefront of tax law, as crazy as that is. And this is an area where there is still technically risk. The IRS would say it's when it's claimed, but there's a lot of argument against that because they can't have it both ways. You can't have it when you claim an airdrop, it's taxable to you, but not when you claim your yield. See, and that's kind of where it cuts both directions.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. But I would, yeah, that's kind of the airdrop game. It's just kind of interesting, and it's another spot in the tax law where hopefully they give us something solid so we don't have to shoot in the dark.
I had a question about gas fees.
Yeah.
So, you know, everybody has to pay gas when you're buying JPEGs on OpenSea or wherever. Looks rare. There's a ton of platforms now. Now, do you have to get taxed on the gas, or is that just like fees?
What do you mean? Like when you're paying gas, like first, like minting or something like that?
Right, right. Because let's say like you have one. Let's just throw this example out. Say you got 1.1 ETH in your MetaMask. Now, when you go to buy this Lost Poet for 1 ETH, let's say it's a zero point 0.1 gas fee. Okay, you pay
Mm-hmm.
the fee, everything's done. Now, are you having to pay later down the road on that zero point 0.1 gas fee? Like, is that like taxable later down the road, or is that just like a fee? Like,
Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
mm-hmm.
How it works, we only have two types of gas, really. We have one type of gas where we have a transaction that's successful, and we have a type of gas when the transaction is not successful. So when it's successful, so let's say we're minting something, and like your example there, we got like a 1.1 ETH. We're purchasing a poet, and the transaction goes through, and we had a zero point 0.1 ETH gas. Well, we add that gas to the cost basis of the poet, so
Okay,
it gets
okay.
added in there, and then when you sell it, we're gonna calculate gain and loss based off of that cost basis, the total cost base including gas.
Totally.
And that's when we're successful. And when we're not successful, so we go try to mint something like that RAF coin that I shot at 13 times and didn't get one. All of that gas goes into it's functionally a sell of ETH. So whatever your cost basis in that ETH was in fiat terms, as you dispose of it because you sold it for zero, it's just gone. Um, you can write that off as a capital loss. So
Oh, okay, okay. Gotcha. Thanks for the clarity on that. That was one of the questions I had. It might sound dumb or something getting double taxed or double feed, but I was like, I just wonder like, you know, what that extra gas does. Like, do you have to claim it on your taxes or show it? So, thanks for the clarity on that.
it's important. I mean, we all know when they do those like whatever, when you have like this is how much gas you spent. You see that sometimes your jaw can drop on anyone's wallet because it's just so expensive. So anyway, it's good to know because you want to make sure you're accounting for it because the gas is what helps your taxes. It's always going to be reducing those taxes for sure.
That's interesting, with the failed transactions that, you would show that as well. Some of
Yeah.
this stuff is just so crazy. That's why we have you, and that's why we have professionals do it for us. Because
Yeah.
I certainly couldn't, do my whole taxes and everything, doing all the transactions that I do. So I
No,
mean, and
it's kind of crazy. It's just the Wild West. I think it will only be Wild West for a short period of time, though. I think we'll have like very quickly adequate record keeping software that does this a lot easier, and some IRS rules. I bet within a couple of years we're not
oh
playing
yeah,
this like crazy game we're playing right now.
and I think I really didn't spend that much gas compared to others. I want to say I spent maybe like a whole ETH in gas last year, which really wasn't that much. I was seeing screenshots by some people and they had like 100 ETH in gas, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
what is going
there's,
on here? Yeah,
there's definitely some accounts that I saw that I just yeah there was more net worth in their eat spend than my portfolio. And
that's
it's
so
just
funny.
like holy cow, man. Yeah, but it's cool. It's crazy. But that's why I mean I'm sure any of those situations, yeah, they better have really recommend having a professional because the
Oh
dollar
my
amounts are just
gosh.
so large, right? So it's crazy. But yeah.
Have you bought any new NFTs recently? Like, let's say in the past month?
A couple. Wait. I one yesterday. I was ready to buy. Waking Nomad did a one of one. Waking Nomad's a like an Ash creator, definitely in Pox ecosystem. Anyway, I liked it a lot. It reminded me. The music was very. I grew up on an NES, so that was like my first video game system. I am a video game nerd, and the sounds like brought me back to childhood, but very optimistic. Anyway, it is tax season for me. I'm working my tail off. I'm on some calls for work, and I missed the end of the auction. So I would have absolutely. I mean, congratulations to the winner. I was coming in hot for that one, so they got it off cheap because I really was going for that one. But anyway, that's just a funny story. When I did get a second state soul,
Uh huh.
which has been cool to open up. I've been opening up pretty much daily. It's a NFT that's dynamic based off the volume of Ash in the previous 24 hours, and it's been kind of interesting to see it. Like even the Pac mentions like Ash 2 drop, the volume kind of goes nuts. So then the NFT goes nuts. So that's been kind of cool. So I think that was my only one I've gotten recently was just second state soul piece. I'm excited for Does Balance. I mean, anyone in the Ash ecosystem probably is. Just the whole thing, the dynamics look so cool. And then I saw him tweet about the music, like about getting balance and how the orchestra plays in, and that was just like a beautiful and also really really cool. So that's probably the only other one upcoming that I'm looking forward to besides like obviously Ash 2. How about you? Did you mint anything or anything cool in the NFT world?
So I was lucky enough to buy one of the Raf Grassetti
Oh, you
coins
lucky guy. Yes.
for 11 Ash. So I got it on the drop day. I was trying to buy multiples, and it just was not going through. Like, I
And
think
I
I
tried so
had
hard.
I
Yeah.
think I had like one or two failed transactions.
Hmm.
And then I was like, whatever, I'll just keep one, and I just kept watching the price run up just because it's fun to watch sometimes. And then Grassetti recently had the masks that you could
They're
buy.
so they're so cool. Yeah, they're really neat.
And so I ended up buying two of them. I don't have that much ash, so that was like all my ash.
Hmm.
And I was like, gosh, I need some ash for the Dell drop, because I'm definitely going to buy some balance. I'm whitelisted and a token holder.
Yeah, that's
So,
awesome.
yeah, so I'm going to be able to mint six. So I ended up buying two of the mask. I sold one that's called the Alpha for 100 ash. And so basically, like the other mask that I have, Orion, is free.
That's super cool.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to complain. I got a free mask. I got the coin. I get to participate. It's cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah, thanks, man.
And they're really just beautiful work. I mean, all the Raft does is beautiful work, though. It's just crazy rendering. It's probably one of my favorite like 3D artists out there. Like, I don't know, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I've tried to get some of his pieces off of Nifty Gateway.
You and me both.
Uh,
I've done every auction, every one since the beginning, and I can't get one. Every one, I haven't missed a single one. Drive me crazy.
and I think they tend to go up. I think the floor price on any of them is like 3 grand or something. Last time I checked.
I think it's even higher than that. And yeah, they go way up. I mean, I think a lot of these nicer pieces are like five figures. I mean, outside of my budget for buying in secondary. So I keep trying to. I try it every time I've tried Raph Rep. Someday I'm gonna get a Raph piece in my collection, but we'll see.
I'm
Maybe.
afraid with Raph on Nifty, I'm afraid that this is just speculation. I feel like you'll probably have to have one of his prior pieces.
Oh yeah, coming up,
You know,
absolutely.
yeah. Somebody on Discord, I can't remember who it was, but they were like, "Oh, when's Raf Grassetti gonna do something on Nifty Gateway?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, it just seems like nothing's going on," and I'm like, "Well, I guarantee you there's gonna be like some sort of future utility. Like if you have his past drops, you're gonna be able to get in on the new drops." And
Yeah.
I don't know how he took that. He didn't respond after that, but
No, absolutely. That was my introduction to Raph was Nifty. I was on there and it was that very first drop, and I thought the statues are so beautiful. They were like, it was like a like child one. I don't know. There's like four or five. There were, and anyway, that was my. And I had no idea. I just entered it because loved the art.
hmm
Yeah. Then found out later, like Raph just keeps like putting out just beautiful stuff. But yeah, really cool.
he's
Great artist.
the what is it? The artist for God of War, or like the creator, or not
Oh,
the
is he?
creator?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
never played that game. That's pretty cool
Oh, it's beautiful. The first time I
though.
played it, it was way
Like,
before I knew NFTs. This was like in high school. I think it was like 2010 or something. I was playing God of War 3, and oh my gosh, man, it's just gorgeous.
yeah. No, I've seen the gameplay and it looks awesome for sure. But that's kind of crazy. Raph's part of that. I had no idea. Real cool.
So, what do you think about Ash 2? Do you think that's going to be this month, next month?
I do think it's going to be this month. I think announcement's really imminent here, but that's my own opinion. Obviously, nothing from Pac official, but yeah, I think we're going to see an announcement very soon. And I'm excited. I think that list of artists that kind of was foreshadowed, obviously also not confirmed, looks incredible. There's like a ton of people on there, including Raph. So maybe that will be when I'm finally successful in getting a Raph piece. Who knows? But yeah, there's like Coldy was on that. I mean, kind of again, all speculation, obviously, but I think Coldy might be in an Ash too, which would be also another artist I've entered every drawing for within my budget. His auctions go for a ton, so I'm interested too because like I hope that and I believe there's going to be accessible price points. If they were all just world class artists with only one of ones, it's not going to be as accessible. I don't think that's going to be the case. Maybe some,
No.
but I'm excited to see if how that entry point looks too, because I think a lot of people are wanting to participate and buy potentially a piece or two. So that'd be interesting.
I'm wondering if it's going to have to do with just the artist preferences. I've heard some speculation like, maybe they just, like let's say if X copy got on there or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, part of me thinks that like Coldy or X copy, they're not going to be cheap. Entry
Yeah,
points. I mean,
not at all.
their floor prices are just ridiculous. Like some of them, like 20 grand just to get in their collection. So those kind of artists, I have a hard time thinking that you're going to be able to buy one of their pieces for 100 ash. I
I agree. I could see in this situation though, like not a lot of it, but I could see like some drawings where obviously you're gonna have low odds, but I could see a little bit getting drawn off as well. You know what I mean?
Okay, it's like you enter in a drawing, and it could be like 100 ash or 200 ash or something.
Yeah, and we'll put all Pac to the interesting things because someone asked that. So Pac did like kind of touch on like if like the artists had freedom to do whatever they want with regards to their creations for Ash 2, or if they had like a theme. And Pac did indicate like they had freedom to do what they wanted, but also said something. He said they said within this mechanism, they absolutely used mechanism as the adjective. And of course, I'm thinking to myself, like, as we all are, like, what mechanism would they have to design within? And that part is obviously very intriguing. Like, is the mechanism on the forefront of like how are we going to purchase things? Because that is always interesting. Or is it a mechanism of like, I've seen other people speculate, and there's wild speculation, but it's like a loot box thing where you just are buying something for a certain amount of ash, and there's like a limited amount of coldies in there, but there's a lot of other stuff. So you're kind of opening up a loot box of ash to based off of an artist list, but obviously all wild speculation. But what do you think of that kind of stuff? Like, it could be like something way past just drawings or auctions. You know.
It could be a new mechanism. I agree that nobody's ever messed with before. I mean, Pac, there's always twists and turns with him. I mean, you just never know what to expect. I mean, it's hard to predict what he's gonna come out with next. I mean, he's
That's what's
just
fun.
so one of the one of the previews. There's this artist named Pussy Riot.
hmm
Did you see that? It said sweet preview of Pussy Riot
No,
piece
I
for
know the
Pac
artist. I
curated
thought
Ash 2.
no, is that on their Twitter or something?
Yes, let me send it to you.
I'm trying to bring it up. Whatever. I saw that they were one of the vanguards that got a carbon. I remember that much.
Yeah, I just sent it to you
Oh
on Twitter.
wow. Yeah.
Sweet preview it says.
Rest in peace, patriarchy. That's cool. And interesting, provocative. I already like I like it, and yeah. See, and this is where I think the artists do have freedom to keep their own So there was some speculation like would it take on some Pac aesthetic and kind of a big theme across it all. I think that the aesthetic's going to be left to the artist, but obviously again just speculation.
Right.
But I see what you're saying, and yeah, this person I absolutely remember them getting a carbon, and they were part of that same list where it was where Pac kind of it was just a huge list of amazing artists.
I wonder where I can find that list.
I could find it for you and send it. Hold on one second here. I'll shoot it over to you. It's going to take a second though.
Oh, it's fine.
But yeah, it's there's like 25 people on there. But it'd be interesting. Obviously, per Pac, there could be twist people not on there. It's not a list of necessarily all people in Ash too, but it's Pac giving out this community gift to a ton of different artists. You have to think that those are artists that are like maybe close to Pac or things like that.
I seen Gavin Shapiro on there.
Yeah, Gavin was on there.
I seen
Absolutely.
Ness Graphics.
Yeah, Ness was on there.
I've always wanted a Ness piece, by the way.
Trevor Jones was on there. Yeah, me too. Ness, I've entered everything for as well. Even tried to go everything. Man. Before he blew up, I was trying to get into the Ness graphics. They're just so cool. Yeah,
I'll never forget some of his old pieces on Super Rare. There's
yeah.
this one I'll pull up, and I remember this was when ETH was like 200 or something like that, and he had this one piece up for like 1.1 ETH, right?
hmm
And I remember just looking at it and looking at it. I probably looked at it for like 30 minutes, and I was like, no, I've never spent 1 ETH on a NFT, and I might have had like 5 ETH or something. I didn't have much, and I was just so close to buying it, and looking back, like, I mean, it would have probably been the best move I ever made, and
Yeah.
just ended up passing it on.
I did the same with Archon Nair. He's gotten really big. I don't know if you've seen his stuff. Those pieces go for quite a bit of in U.S. fiat terms, six figures. And I was talking to Archon like way back in the early spring of 20. It'd have been just how fast did that time go? 2021. Anyway,
Yeah.
I was talking to him, and like at the time, his pieces were going for like pretty decent, but like anywhere between 4 to 7 ETH at the time. And I thought they were just amazing. And I did end up like there was a collab he did with Bonnaroo, and I ended up getting a piece of that. But it was like a collab piece. But at the time, I wish I would have gotten one of his just more traditional pieces because same thing. I was like staring at it every day. I'm talking to the artist because I find it so interesting. And Archon is a lovely person talking about like their point of view. They have a really cool takes on spirituality and how they're displaying that through their art. Anyway, to the point I'm like literally really getting into it on the narrative too, and I never pulled the trigger. And now it's like so far outside my reach. I mean, just massive sales, but it's good for him, good for the community. It's just so funny when you're staring at it and it's just so cool. It's just even at the time though, and still like 5 ETH wasn't, especially in 2021, it still wasn't cheap at all. So it's just like I kept thinking, oh, maybe someday I'll get one, but anyway, never gonna happen.
What's the artist name?
Archon Nair, it's like Archan
What's
and then
what
space
platform?
Nair.
Super Rare?
They do like super. They have super rare. They've done drops all over the place. So
Okay,
makers,
hold
I think
on
they've
one
even done
second
their
here.
yeah. Bring it up. It's cool stuff. I mean, really, I think it's just awesome.
Okay, how do you
Um,
spell that again?
Archan and then space Nair.
Archon Nair?
Yeah, I mean that's how I pronounce
Oh
it.
wow. It's like very like AI looking.
Yeah, and it's all done by hand. Well, I mean, obviously digitally by hand, but it's cool. I've always liked this stuff. I've gone through all of his stuff, and it's just there's really neat pieces in there.
Synthesize, shine, duality of a never-ending story. That's cool.
Yeah,
Wow. That's a trip. Yeah,
yeah, it's just a very clear aesthetic. Yeah, what were you saying?
I have this Nest graphics piece pulled up. It's called Hyper Reality. I know you probably can't see it because your screen's
No, but
black,
I
but
actually know that one. Yep, I know what
yeah,
you're
yeah.
talking about.
So and then the guy won the auction. Okay, so there was an auction. So yeah, he bought it for 1.1 ETH, and that was
Yeah.
$1,300 at the time. 1370. Oh yeah,
So he did real well for himself.
this has to be a six-figure piece, easy. A
Oh,
one-on-one
big time.
Ness. I mean,
Yeah, all one-on-one nesses are going to be six figures
yeah.
nowadays, at least. I did send you over that list that pot kind of outlined
Okay, let's
as
check it
well,
out.
different artists in there. So if you open up that tweet, like below it, there's like, 25 people, and most of them, I mean, they may be all, I'm not familiar with everybody, but there's a huge list of artists in there.
Okie dokie. Okay, let
I
me.
mean, like Felipe Hodes is in there. I've had actually, I sold his piece, but I had a piece of his for a while. They're just cool. He's got really cool
Adam
interpretations.
Swab. Don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't know who that is either.
A lot of money. That's cool.
Blake Catherine does some pretty neat
Yeah.
stuff.
Coldy.
Yeah, Coldy.
Deadfellas. That would be interesting if some PFP project did a collab with Pac. I never really thought about that. Supermassive, the Defiant. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. The whole gosh, what are those called? I just watched them. The
The
Defiant.
Defiant series on Pac.
Yeah, that was pretty
Really, they were
nice.
so good. Yeah, they're really cool. And it's cool part about putting out such good content. I've watched other Defiant ones because of how interesting that one was, and they're all like, quality over there, real quality.
So this Pussy Riot, they're on the
It's,
list. So
yep. See, that's what I'm saying. They're on this list, and and they're like you can see Rafts on this list.
yep.
Six and fives here. I mean, Mad Dog Jones. That's super
Oh,
cool, and he's on this list.
I'm a big Mad
That'd be
Dog Jones
incredible,
fan.
right? Yeah, me too. Me too. And also another artist that's just impossible to get a hold of. Well,
I
not
ended up.
impossible.
I had Thought as a System. The telephone booths.
Uh huh. Yeah.
I
You had
had
one?
yeah, I had one of those, and then I sold it
Oh.
at the hype of the burn
Mm-hmm.
and made a pretty penny on that one.
I was gonna say you might have done pretty well still. Then his stuff is worth a lot. I mean, at least last time I looked, I haven't looked in a while, but yeah.
You can see my name if you go back through the transaction history, and I think it's still on the first page. So, and then he
Yes.
has Why Would I Care? I'm Just a Cat.
Mm-hmm.
I bought that one on the primary. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one too. I like that one a lot actually.
I've been telling some of my buddies at work, if they can, try to buy that. Why would I care? I'm just a cat. I was listening to a Mad Dog Jones, Roger Dickerman chat,
Mm-hmm.
and Mad Dog was saying that he would reward, or he's working on rewarding the people that have Why Would I Care? I'm Just a Cat. So,
Mm. That's interesting.
yeah. He was also saying that he wasn't releasing anything anytime soon. But then I see him releasing these like one of ones that are going for six figures. So
Yeah.
and that makes me think, if he's gonna be in Ash 2, I I'm wondering, if what we were talking about, like the mechanisms, different ones, I wonder if he's gonna do like a one of one on there. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you know, it's hard to speculate. Obviously, just all wild. But you have so many artists now. I think what people are speculating like up to 25 or something. You could see like you could have some even a couple just artists only doing one of ones, maybe some others doing some additions. And again, obviously, who knows? But there's enough artists too. I mean, there's even so many. You wonder if it's all on the same day or if it's going to be like spread out over a week or something. Who knows?
Like phase one, phase two, phase three.
Yeah, I could see something like that, because it seems like also just a lot of, I mean, or either way, but it's just a lot of artists, right? Like even like some of those big charity drops that's happened with people and stuff. I don't even think they have 25 artists in those whole drops. I want to say they're like 12. I don't know. It just feels like maybe,
So
yeah,
Chris,
Ash will be interesting.
Chris Manawis, he's my good buddy. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna go over to his house for the Super Bowl. And the comments he puts, "Can you send me that also, Moose?" I think he's talking about the list that you sent
Yeah,
me.
if you want to put it in like chat or wherever, I don't know. But yeah, I could shoot it out. It's just on Pac. Pac tweeted it on January 26th. He just says another set of Vanguard or just another set of carbons are sent to the Vanguards, and below that it's just a list of all these artists.
Chris, I'm sending you this right now. Don't worry about
There
it.
you go. I couldn't believe I saw Trevor Jones on there too. I mean, a lot of stuff. And Paris Hilton, I mean, she's out there promoting NFTs too. So she is kind of a vanguard of the community, even though it's kind of interesting the different takes, but it's cool. Super cool.
So
Takes the community.
I wonder if these NFTs that you'll be able to buy from Ash 2 will be high tier burnable.
Yeah, Pac said, I mean, collabs never are. And I would be suspect. I'd be really suspect, but who knows? I mean, it's not a collab though. It's definitely not. These are all these artists' individual ones. So maybe.
It's interesting to think about.
It's also interesting, right? There's just so many unknowns, and it's fun because as all Pac, it's fun to kind of just because sometimes most of the time this would be obvious, but none of this is obvious. Even how we're going to be able to purchase, the timelines, to what we're going to be able to see. I mean, we know very little. We do know that Pac did indicate that it just have lower price entry points than carbon, so we definitely know that much. That's kind of cool. But yeah, who knows? It's going to be interesting. I saw
Well,
Nahiko's on here. I'm probably slaughtering the pronunciation, but I've been following their work. They're just awesome, and I'm really excited to see what they put out for this too. They do really cool stuff with smart contracts. I don't know if you followed them or taken a look, but just really innovative art that's like more demonstrating like different, kind of similar to Pox style, what you can do and push the boundaries with smart contracts. So really neat.
what's the name?
Nahiko. It's
Okay,
on
I
that
see it.
second page. Second page right next to Nest Graphics. They do really neat stuff.
I see it. So I'm following Nahiko. You know Offren from our
Hmm.
FOMO group.
Yeah, absolutely.
He actually was telling me to follow Nahiko because I always ask Offren about, like he was showing me like like revoking permissions and stuff like that, and how you
Yeah,
should like set your ash limits when you're approving a website and stuff like that when you're approving your wallet. And so he was like, "Hey, give this person a follow. They always got some good knowledge." And so yeah, so I recently followed them like a week or two ago.
no, it's all those things are so important. You've seen like all these things. I saw another board ape was stolen this morning,
Oh,
and then it was like a situation where this person built a website that was like would create a modified version of your board ape, but like it
oh
was really
my.
clean stuff that you connect your wallet, and then as soon as you do, you sign the permissions, and the ape was gone. And then I tweeted today there was one that was one of the crazier stories I've seen. I mean, this person put out a long thread of how they were attempted to be attacked, but it was like in depth to the point that they're participating in this DAO. This person's trying to run a DAO with all the altruistic intentions behind it, and with that said, the scammers front as if they have these specialties in graphic design and things. Well, long story short, and the thread's really cool to read. I mean, not cool. They dodge getting scammed, so maybe it is cool. But they hire graphic design artists. The scammer does to like like, and then provide to the group to show like their skill level to kind of get trust and things like that. And then anyway, they send over NFT to the person they're trying to scam, and it has a part of it where if you sign this thing, it's going to let them drain the ETH out of it. And I'm not doing a full justice because it's way too long for me to
Right.
reiterate. But it was interesting to see how far and the lengths these scammers went to build trust, and then get really. And it was more than one. So one introduced them, and then the scammers introducing their friends, and even the financial backing. After like investigating, this person found they had to start this scam up. They sent 100 ETH, to these new wallets that were part of this, front that ended up trying to get this person to sign off and drain their wallets. So crazy. I think like we all need to be really like, and this part, what this person did that was so good, and we all should really take lesson. I mean, the only reason they didn't get ripped off is they wanted to help this person, like support this project that was getting fronted to them, but they insisted to put it in a brand new hot wallet because they've never interacted with this contract. It was on a third party, just a website, not any known protocol or any way to verify what was going on. And then the person started pressuring them to put it back in their main cold storage wallet. And that's when they got the bad vibes of like, well, why do you want it in my cold storage wallet so bad when it's right here and we can do whatever we're going to do? So
What?
like talk about great security of like, they have the foresight. And then I'm trying to get better at that too. We should have like, wallets for interacting with things. And then
Yep.
you should not be interacting with your cold storage wallet where with these websites.
Correct.
So it's really cool story because they did like, they detail all this stuff so we can all learn from it. Because I was like, wow, I mean, I could have fallen for that. Who knows,
I this year I made a thing that I'm gonna be more safe, more secure on the networks. And so I had a Ledger Nano X where I keep my Bitcoin on, and I was asking some people, hey, should I just throw my NFTs on this ledger that I have crypto on? And they're like, no, I think it would be better practice if you had separate wallets.
Mm-hmm.
So I went out and bought two more ledgers. One I keep most of my like high dollar expensive NFTs on, and then the second wallet I have that I bought, um, I just keep it off to the side in case I need like a backup or something. So
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you on the security. It's really important. Now this year, I'm gonna try to even divide my stuff in like a couple cold
yeah,
wallets. Just kind of make it more decentralized in terms of like, if there was an exposure, what happens. I mean, we do. It's just kind of best practices, but it's so important. And you just see like, I mean, could you imagine like we all spend time in this space, and obviously we all have limited. Well, not all of us have limited monetary constrictions, but I know I do, and I bet most 99% do have that.
hmm
And like if I had my wallet like just emptied, I would be like so bummed. I mean, yes, you could still participate in the community, but I would have like, I mean, I think obviously can rebuild, but holy cow, what a bummer would that be? All those.
you might just uninstall everything and just
I
quit.
mean, maybe it'd be so rough. I don't know. I would be. I remember when I did have like for a long time, I was only on a hot wallet, and this is quite a while ago though. But I remember like even waking up at night and being like panicking, like like about like anyway getting hacked or things like that. So it's important to take security in consideration here, like without question. We see it all the time, It's just nuts. I've always root for everybody to kind of not get scammed. We're all rooting against the scammers, but we got to do our part too, of like taking steps to make sure they don't win.
Hide your babies.
Right. It's just what it is, man. But it's crazy how much the stuff's worth. Like how much like time these people spend. Like that one I was talking about. That was like over a month of these scammers trying to like just get one NFT in this person's wallet and have them sign off on it. And that wasn't like some like which we've all get in Discord some requests like click here for $1 million. It
Oh
wasn't kind
my
of
god!
it wasn't
Every
like
day,
the
every
prince.
day
Yeah.
I have those
No.
messages.
I had to turn off like you can only DM me now with a friend request because I can't do it. I just can't have open DMs because it's just so much. It's just yeah, it's just like nonstop onslaught.
I might have to do that. I'm gonna
Oh,
actually just do it while we're live here.
it was wonderful. I mean, it's impossible to go through, and it was like honestly diluting any real like or like true like a conversation. Because I'm like I got all these requests, I can't even see like what's going on. There's just so many. I mean, anyway, it's just so many. And then within 2 weeks, they'll all, if you like scroll down your Discord, they're all going to say the account was deleted. Account was deleted. It's just like, give me a break. Just,
All right, I'm on Discord here. Uh, huh. Privacy and safety. Safe
I
direct
think
messenger.
so. There's a part where you can definitely enable it where only friends can direct message you. I mean, that's at least what I turned on.
Allow direct messages from server members. Huh.
And you can also do that too. It's funny because that's how I even filter. If I don't know somebody, I'll just go see if we have mutual servers, and especially how hard it is to get in box and other things. If like you could see, just like, oh yeah, you're not, anyway. I kind of would just look at that.
Yeah, no, we only got a couple more minutes, but yeah, for anybody that's watching, definitely just be safe out there when you guys are buying and selling NFTs and even just browsing and just be careful with what you click and try to be educated as much as possible and just be
If you
safe,
don't know, don't do it. That's a big one. If you don't know what's going on, don't sign it.
Or phone a friend, you know.
Yeah, phone a friend. Yeah, exactly.
Use one of your lifelines.
Ironically, we're on FOMO versus radio. Just don't FOMO into signing things, signing contracts. Don't do
Yeah.
it.
All right. Well, Moose, you have a fun Super Bowl day.
Yeah, you too, bud. Have a good Super Bowl. Hopefully, everyone has a good, safe day and go Rams and have some good food.
Go
So, yeah,
Rams.
that's right. All right, guys. Have a good one, bud.
All right. We'll talk to you soon, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely.